Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Matt, and the rest of you guys for having me. I am Ben Kawaller, and I'm not the CEO of the Israeli-American Council, but you may think of me as the replacement Jew, or, if I do well, the great replacement Jew. I don't know that I would be asked to speak here for you guys if you weren't in a bind. I will admit to you all, I've never voted Republican. In fact, the last time I was here was to cover you guys for a local publication formerly known as WeHoville, and at that time I would have unhesitatingly identified as a liberal. But as I've watched what feels like a collective insanity take over much of what I used to think of as the left, I have become, if not right, well, right curious. Still, it's scary in this age of shaming and cancellations for a registered Democrat like me to be speaking to you all. Many liberals will undoubtedly think this puts me beyond the pale. You can see the moral dilemma. Could I really do this? Speak for the team that I was always told holds up the banner of fiscal conservatism to withhold an easier life for the average American, let alone the weakest among us. After all, I'm the grandson of a card-carrying member of the Communist Party. Of course, he also happened to be the CEO of a profitable glass company, and I doubt any of the glassblowers he employed died with a high-rise view of Central Park. If I do accept this speaking gig, I told myself, the worst anyone could say of me is that I'm carrying my grandfather's torch of liberal hypocrisy. Plus, I figured at the very least, well, the log cabin Republicans are fancy gays who have done well in life and who are in desperate need of a last-minute speaker. Perhaps this will come with a nice speaking fee. I admit it came as a bit of a shock to learn that in exchange for whipping together this speech and saving the entire evening, I was offered 2 drink tickets. You guys really are Republicans. And this is how I know I fundamentally just don't have the chops to be a right-winger. What self-respecting Republican wouldn't demand a speaking fee for swooping in last minute to replace a former special envoy for the State Department? Do you think Donald Trump would have accepted this gig? I mean, talk about not grasping the art of the deal. Of course, you have offered me the one thing I can't resist, a microphone. And that did eventually assure me I could have unlimited beverages this evening. I may no longer identify as a liberal, but I sure do negotiate like a Democrat. Yeah. What the hell is this noise happening here?
Pride.
Oh, pride. I do shame. All right. Anyway, I have a local log cabin member to thank, Roxanne Hogue, for connecting me with Matt so I could be here with you guys tonight. I believe Roxanne discovered me yesterday on Twitter, as I've just had an interview I conducted with the mayor of West Hollywood go viral. The interview was conducted following a city council meeting where an administrator updated everyone on various DEI-related initiatives the city was pursuing. And she mentioned that 81 staff members had recently attended a workshop called Understanding Racialized Space in Architecture. I asked the mayor how he understood racialized space in architecture, and what followed were 2 of the most sublimely incoherent minutes I have ever experienced. I can't take much credit for it. The man just kept spewing gold. But I think the video resonated because it showed that when you actually probe some of the ideas that have gained currency in recent years on the cultural left, it's very easy to reveal the falseness behind the people propagating them. For those who are critical of what some of us have come to call wokeness, the clip is pure catnip. Now, about that word, wokeness. Several months ago, another clip went viral for being catnip to the other side. In it, a conservative writer and activist, Bethany Mandel, is reduced to stutters when the leftist podcast host, Brianna Joy Gray, asked her to define wokeness, about which she had just written a book. Now, I do not envy anyone who has to debate Brianna Joy Gray, who, before the current war in Gaza, was one of my favorite thinkers on the left. someone who I always thought of, in fact, as anti-woke because she seemed to reject identity politics. Even now, I have to admit, I don't hate Brianna Joy Gray, who is very smart. And if I am to listen to anti-Semitism, I want it to be the very best anti-Semitism. Where was I? Wokeness. I think I'll take a stab at it, with the caveat that I wrote this speech in 2 hours, which may not be enough time to fully wrestle with what may be the major defining issue of our time. So this isn't all of it, but a big part of wokeness, I think, is the belief that a person's immutable characteristics, like race or gender, always and inherently either limit them or grant them advantage. And that because of that, it's okay to treat people differently on an institutional and an interpersonal level based on their race and gender. And it's that second clause that is everything I was raised to believe good liberals, good people, stand against. What makes wokeness so insidious, I think, is that its first clause is based in truth, that people can be, and certainly were in the past, more or less as a rule, at a disadvantage because of immutable characteristics. It's the rigidity of wokeness, the always of wokeness. And of course, wokeness's almost complete indifference to poverty, the greatest disadvantage of all, that makes it so repugnant to so many Americans, including liberals. Because whether they publicly support it or not, most liberals hate this shit. Nearly everyone hates this shit. But another part of wokeness, or what it means to be woke, is living in fear. A terror at being seen as insufficiently supportive of efforts to help make the world a better place. It's a terror so powerful it can lead people to betray everything they think they believe about fairness, equality, compassion, and grace. And my God, is it a gift to the Republican Party. Because most Americans don't really know the intricacies or even the broad strokes of the policies put forth by the Democrats or the Republicans. And the effect wokeness has had on the way people perceive Democrats, or the way I perceive Democrats anyway, means that when a Republican comes out swinging against progressive dogma, every instinct in me says, that's my guy. And then I remember, and here's when I lose you all, that when I was 23, I had cancer. And that I owe, if not my life, then certainly my bank account, to the fact that Barack Obama fixed it so that a high-risk guy like me can buy health insurance. Now, lest you think I'm one of those types who mines for trauma, my cancer was ball cancer, and I caught it early enough that it was practically a non-event. I do have a fake testicle that feels so unlike a real testicle, you'd think it was bought with socialized medicine. I knew you guys would like that one. Yes. I'm not going to enumerate the other reasons I can't see myself supporting the current Republican Party. After all, if there's one thing I've learned, shit, good joke too. After all, if there's one thing I hold sacred, it's the approval of a crowd. What I have come to appreciate is that for any thoughtful person, aligning yourself with a political party is a process of trade-offs. Many of us feel like we're choosing between the lesser of two evils. And that's a phrase I dislike, maybe because at the end of the day, you can't escape your upbringing, and we on the, let's say, center-left, we're uncomfortable with the concept of evil. And the events of the past 8 months, Jesus, it's strange, have made bizarre. Have made me much more comfortable saying that evil exists. And it has been a wake-up call. You might say I've woken up it's been a wake-up call to see the very people who seem to own the brand of being good rallying behind forces that are so clearly evil. And who so often seem to cast America, if not the entire West in general, as on the side of evil. And one thing I've come to appreciate about Republicans is a willingness to say that America is good. Of course, the liberal in me can count the ways America fails to be as good as it could be, but my God, it could be so much worse. We could be in Iran. We could be in Russia. We could be in Canada. I feel like I've spent the past minutes circling around some central truth, and I've run out of time to actually articulate it. So I think maybe let's go to this Q&A, which I was told. But I'll be taking questions now, if anyone has any. Thank you for having me talk.